Welcome to the I9 Sports Chicago Basketball Rules webinar. For some of the basic rules for each division is that there will be two halves that are played, and the clock will run continuously except for the final minute of each half, where the time will be stopped for dead balls. There's no backcourt defending or pressing is allowed. And there's no intentional blocking, so the player should keep their hands straight up when defending a shot. And there's no free throws on fouls. If a foul occurs at any time throughout the game, the ball will be inbounded from the sideline or baseline. And they'll have 5 seconds to pass the ball onto the court. And then at the end of the first half and at the end of the game, the teams will line up at one end of the court, and they will have 1 minute to get as many layups as they can. Each team will have 2 balls, and individually, each player will go up for a layup. They'll count this out loud. The referee will time this 1 minute. They'll mark when it's time to start and when that ends. And at the end, for each layup that is made by the team, they will add 1 point to their score. And as far as how many players can play, a team must have at least one less player. So if it's a 5-on-5 game, the team must have at least 4 players for it to be considered a full game. If it's 4-on-4, they must have at least 3 players. If they do not, then it will be considered a forfeit, but they will still play as a scrimmage. Now, it's important to acknowledge that not all age groups are created equally. The various age groups have vastly different needs, abilities, and attention spans. So in this section, we're going to review these differences and highlight how this I9 Sports program will most successfully serve the various needs of different age groups. So for the youngest group, we call them Super Pee-wees. For the middle age group is Pee-wees, and then we have junior age groups. Here are just some of the basic differences. So the hoop heights, again, the youngest group will be between 6.5 and 7.5 feet. Pee-wees will be between 8 and 9 feet hoops, and then the juniors will be a full 10-foot hoop. The halftime lengths are also different. They're shorter for the younger groups. And then for Super Pee-wees and Pee-wees, depending on the venue, it may be 4-on-4 with a shorter court, or 5-on-5 with a full court, and then the juniors will play 5-on-5 with a full court. So first, for the Super Pee-wees, the youngest group, their balance is limited. In addition, the children have very limited attention spans, and they learn best with egocentric activities and visual and auditory clues. The emphasis is going to be placed on acquiring fundamental skills such as running, passing, and catching. The main goal of this age group is to keep the kids having fun while learning the very basic skills and progression of the sport. While games are played, they are done so to learn the structure, organization, and experience of basketball. Competition is not the focus. So traveling and double dribbling are going to be reminded, by the referee just to keep the kids dribbling, but they're not going to be enforced. There's not going to be any stealing off dribble or passes. This keeps the kids from stealing the ball. It helps them develop both offensively and defensively. The offensive player is able to learn how to dribble and pass properly, and the defensive player learns how to play defense without reaching. There are no 3-point baskets, and there are no fast breaks. So when all defensive rebounds must be checked with the coach or referee. The players must outlet to the coach or referee, who then decides which player to pass to for ball distribution and advancement up the court. This allows for different players to work on dribbling the ball and playing point guard. Also, the defensive player will be, players will be in zoned marking. So they'll be in different colors or numbers, and so the defensive players will go within that marking, and they have to be within, keeping a foot around that specific area. So, for example, if the offensive team is going this way, the defensive players should already be lined up in different markings. So they may be one here, one here, one here, 3, 4, and 5. So the players will be in one of these different areas, all right, and they will just be standing around there with their hands up in a good defensive position, and this allows them to get used to proper defense but not running all over the court. So for the Pee Wee group, more of these children have achieved mature patterns of fundamental motor skills, and their posture and balance are better. They're beginning to learn transitional skills, which are fundamental abilities performed in combination or with variation. So for example, throwing for distance. Their attention spans are still short, so the activities are going to emphasize fundamental skills and encourage development of these transitional skills. The rules are still going to be flexible, and the focus is going to be on skill instruction. So some of the modifications here, traveling is going to be reminded by the referee, and play will be stopped if the traveling is excessive, but it will not be enforced as a traveling penalty. Double dribbling, again, will be reminded but not enforced. There will be no stealing on the dribble. Again, this allows players to work on correct defensive stance and movement without reaching, and allows the offensive player to work on their dribbling without getting the ball stolen from them. However, the players can steal on the pass. There are no three-pointers, and the defense must play within the three-point line. So again, they can steal on the pass, but it must be within the three-point line. The teams can play man-to-man defense or zone at the discretion of the coach. All right. If it's man-to-man, color jersey shoulder bands will be used for defensive matchups. Athletes are only allowed to guard the opposing athlete wearing the same color shoulder strap that they have. So again, the players can play defense in man or zone, but they must play within the three-point line or the line marked, depending on the venue, around this area. For the junior age groups, they are more able to play regular basketball, but there are still modifications that are appropriate for their age group. So traveling and double dribbling is reminded by the referee, and then it will be enforced if they are traveling and double dribbling. Stealing is allowed on the dribble and the pass, but again, they cannot reach for a foul. That will be called. Three-pointers are allowed. However, defense must play, while they can steal, they must play within the three-point line. They cannot extend out towards there. Man-to-man or zone defense is allowed within the three-point line, and they don't have any shoulder straps at this level. They can match up however they would like, and they're also able to double team if it works out for them. So again, the main modification here, they can play regular defense, it just needs to be within the three-point line. We also have a sportsmanship rule. When a team has a lead of 25 points or greater after the first half, the following rules will apply. The score is recorded as the final score once they reach that 25-point limit. And play continues as normal, but the score remains unchanged. And please remember that scoring is part of the game, but not the main focus. We always want to place the kids' accomplishments and efforts before the win. For the coaches, they may politely conference with an official. However, any type of yelling or badgering of the official will not be tolerated. The official's call on the field will be final. If there are any concerns, the coach can always address the league office by Monday morning. Violation will result in 1 warning, followed by an ejection for the game for the remainder of the game, and possibly the season and beyond per the league office's discretion. Opposing coaches are not rivals, but instead are collaborators in making the game enjoyable for all of the athletes. And finally, and most importantly, the last rule, which is to have fun. Thank you for listening, and please reach out to the league office if you have any questions regarding the rules. Thank you.